Pleasant good morning to one and all. Pleasant good Monday morning. Welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today is Monday, the 13th day of October, in the year of our Lord 2025. Excuse me, share the live. Let them know that you're on. I anticipate the numbers are going to be a little down this morning because Guyana's best blackout. People call me complaining they have had blackout for the past 2-3 hours. Yes. So I expect that the numbers are not going to be, the attendance at school is not going to be what it's usually is, but you're going to get it on the rebound. That's a good thing about the program being there on YouTube. So if you don't catch the live, you go on YouTube and you catch the program. I know many of you want to be here on the live so that you can make your comment and you can interact with each other. I appreciate your in-person attendance. So, but that is it. That is what it is. The numbers are going to be done. Mr. Conway, my colleague, is not in the studios yet because he is suffering from power outages this year, blackout around a large part of Guyana has blackout at this time. So yes, here we are, notwithstanding that. It's another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the living. It is a privilege to be in the living, in the land of the living, and we should never, ever take that for granted. Never take it for granted. So share the live, and if you don't see a colleague, I suspect it's because they have power outage and they can't get on to the live show at this moment. That is the type of development we're talking about. After all these years, we still can't get reliable electricity. Can't get reliable electricity in a land of less than 1 million people. That is what you have. But as I said, 5 more years pandemic. That is what we have. That is what we have to put up with, right? So yeah, let me. I'm hoping that my colleague is going to get the power, because he said he had a backup source which lasted for like about 2 hours, but the 2 hours done already. So no power. So he's waiting on GPL to come back on so that he can get some power and he can join me. But one way or the other, even if I got a bat alone, I can bat alone, man. I am going to bat alone, but because you have to have the information. The information must come to you, right? So yeah, share the live. And I'm going to tell you, Kat, today, October the 13th, 2025, is a day that I will remind you of 4 years ago, the 21st of October, what's it, 2021, the 13th of October, 2021. I'm going to tell you how it happened today. I'm going to tell you in the lead up. Not must I. People must know what's going on. People must know what went on, and because they have a way of trying to rewrite history, I will not allow them to do that. I will not allow them. So yes, here we are. Let's give you the sad announcements first. Because of the blackout, many of the students who were in here early were struck off. So we're going to forget the roll call this morning. We're going to go into the announcements, and then I'm going to start hoping that my colleague CC gets some power to join us. Now, the first announcement, I'm reminding y'all, Sergeant Vaughn, today is 560 days since that police sergeant was shot and killed. 500. That incident occurred on the 12th of March, 2024. 560 days and counting and hearing anything. And they talk about transparency. They talk about professionalism. And they can't update, even the family have not been updated as to what is has transpired or what is transpiring. Can't tell you what is wrong with telling the family and letting the public know. You came out with big fanfare initially, always accidental discharge. Some constable was placed under close arrest, and you can't hear anything over a year and counting. 560 days and counting. So yeah, that is what we have. That is what we have. And in terms of other announcements, I told you, so we told you something ago of the death of former member Mary Light, 0853. Our funeral will be on the 16th of October. from 1 to 3 p.m. at Merriman's Funeral Home, Ben Street, Work and Rust. And they say a wake will be held on the 15th at the Gerald Guides Pavilion in Brickdam. So Mary will be put from 6 o'clock, the wake. So Mary funeral is on the 16th, and they're gonna be a wake on the 15th at the Girl Guides Pavilion, and this service will be held at the Merriman's Funeral Home. We also told you of the death of former member Marva Glasgow, Scott W257. She was cremated on Friday in Ohio, and I received information that there will be a service on the 25th of October in Brooklyn. So all you Brooklynites and those people in the adjoining areas, be warned, be informed that the funeral service for Marva Glasgow, W257, the late Marva Glasgow, will be on the 25th of October. The venue and time will be communicated to you later. The venue and the time will be communicated to you later. Now, let me tell you too, we told you of the death of Bora Johnson's son, retired inspector, well, the late retired inspector, Horace Johnson Bora, of TSU fame. Bora's son will be buried today at the Garrick. I think they would have finished there by now. And then it goes to his residence, Andenveld, Mahaika, for further viewing and funeral service later there. Right? So that is Bora Johnson's son. And we did tell you of the death of the attorney at law, Rainey Kisoon. I saw that the president awarded her senior counsel posthumously. But you know, people want whatever award they got to give them when they're alive, man. Give them when they're alive so they can cherish it and so on. But she was awarded senior counsel posthumously. So wherever she is in this afterworld, she is now a senior counsel. And then I learned over the weekend of the death of a former Olympian, one of our athletes, Dennis Collison. He was a member of the 1976 Olympic team, which was felt by many to be that we had our best chance there of winning medal. Best chance. I can talk about it. I had hoped to get CC, but he's not here. So Dennis Collison, what am I saying? Passed away recently, and we're gonna talk a little. I want to talk something more about the athletes, right? I want to talk some more. But let me make the other announcements, and then we're gonna come back. All the time, I'm hoping that CC joins me. Now today, let's go to the more pleasant announcement. Today is the birth anniversary of former policeman, right, 13286, Mr. Selwyn Peters, attorney at law extraordinaire. My lawyer. Did I say Selwyn is my lawyer? Yeah, Selwyn is my lawyer. So today, Selwyn and his twin brother, Gary, are celebrating their birthday. I think he's around 58 or something like that. At least he knows his age. He did not do, or he has not done like a certain man who apparently had no age, right? He has not done that. So Selwyn is celebrating today, and who else is celebrating today? Today also we have a student, Clayton Hines, is observing today. We have a former member, Hannah Lee Hines Kelman. I remember Hannah Lee from Brickdam CID. She is celebrating today as well. We have belated birthday greeting going out to Woman Deputy Superintendent Polisa Peters Finance. She celebrated recently. Javon Amer, I think he's an ASP or Deputy Superintendent, I'm not sure. He celebrated recently. Also celebrating recently is a student and a former member, Bray Prince, Aubrey Prince, known as Bray Prince. He was 13629. He celebrated recently. Also celebrating recently is former Minister of National Security, Kamraj Prakash Kamraj Ramdatan. he celebrated. And we did tell you about a student, Sean Rabunjanat. He also celebrated recently. But coming back to Selvin, many people did not know that Selvin was a policeman, joined in 1985, was with me at the TSU for some time. And, I forget about the politics. We ain't talking politics. But Selvin, I will always be grateful to him when in 2021, President come to suspend the police service commission, then they come with trumped up charges and so on. Selvin is the man who I reached out to, and he willingly took on the task. First, on behalf of the commission, which he won, got the court to rule that the president violated the Constitution. So when they come now and talk about the president following the Constitution, he has a record where he violated the Constitution. And then Selvin took on Dexter Todd and Dexter Smart, and that was a team along with some people like Toby from Canada, and they did excellent work. They came up against the Attorney General Chambers. They have all the resources, all the money, all the liars. And Selvin and his team was successful. They were successful in representing the Police Service Commission and that. So yes, Selvin, now enjoy your birth anniversary. And this is, as I said, this is not about the politics. People lick you down for your politics and so on. Politics is the politics. But notwithstanding that, I don't agree with him with everything. And many times I tell him when I don't agree with him. And he acknowledges we have that type of relationship. We have that type of relationship. So Selvin, my brother, enjoy your natal day. And I hope that the good Lord continues to bless you and allow you to see many, many, many more birthdays. Now, good. Let me, I should have mentioned, I got some advanced birthday greetings, Advanced birthday greetings to retired Superintendent Owen Trotz. Owen observed or celebrated a birthday recently. We have also, I don't know if this person is if he follows it the live, but I know his mother is never ever off the program. I'm referring to ex-policeman to Carlos Williams, my cousin and neighbor and all that. Carlos, advanced birthday, I think tomorrow is his birthday. And there's a special greeting that I want to extend here to retired member, not retired, former member, Newborn Carrington. Carrie recently on the 50th wedding anniversary. 50th wedding anniversary, Carrie 8461. You born, Carrington. Excellent cricketer back in the days. When you look at this, the class of people like Carrie, all-rounder, true all-rounder, bat, bowl, field, can make guy in a team. I am sure with that type of quality now, he can walk into the West Indies team. But so was the competition, such was the composition then, that people of with the skills of Carrie couldn't get into the team. So Carrie, happy 50th wedding anniversary to you and your wife Mona. I know both of them very well, and I hope that the good Lord will continue to bless you and bless the relationship so that you're together for many, many, many more years. Again, congratulations to all those who celebrated birthday today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the near future. All the best to you. My colleague is still not here, so now let me move on. I alluded to cricket. Because it's a great improvement in the West Indies performance in the second test. The test match is going to go into the 5th day. The test match, West Indies versus India, will now go into the fifth day. Congratulations to Shehope 100. Congratulations to John Campbell 100. Right? And then Graves got a half century. And then Graves and the last wicket partnership, they say lasted for like about 20 overs or something. That is what we want, That's people like me. That is what people like me want. Put up a fight. Don't fold. Put up a fight. And we can't argue that they were able to put up a fight in this test match. Then disgrace themselves. They did not disgrace themselves. So I don't know if it's congratulations or one must say, but I want to say, keep fighting. That is what most realistic people want. Some people want you to beat the world, but you're not. at the stage to be the world. You're not at the stage to be the world, but at least you are able to not disgrace yourselves and the West Indies, right? So yes, now let me move on. The next thing, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian brothers and sisters, all the students in Canada. Today is Thanksgiving Day in Canada. The second Monday in October is Thanksgiving in Canada. So today is that day. And in the States, it's Columbus Day. Some states don't refer to it as Columbus Day any longer. They refer to it as Indigenous Peoples Day, right? So that is, I don't know if it's a federal holiday or if it's a holiday in some state and not in others, but today is that day, Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day as well. Now, what we regret, what we failed to mention at the beginning of the month, that this month, October, is observed as Cancer Awareness Month. And, again, students, your teachers, sometimes we miss one or two things, right? Somebody says a federal holiday. We miss one or two things, and we miss very early in the month to alert you that this is Cancer Awareness Month. They used to call it Breast Cancer Month. GT&T, as it was then, at this Pinktober, where they had walk, and I participated in at least two of those breast cancer walk. And it's something you got to be aware of, Go and get your check. Women, go and get your mammogram. Men, go and get your prostate. Both men and women, go and get your colonoscopy and all of that. Don't take chances. Be aware. Be aware, right? Cancer is a dangerous, dangerous thing. Dangerous, we all know. We all know that cancer is dangerous. So please, I plead with you. Women, go and get your mammogram. Go and get whatever test you got to get. Because they have said, it is scientifically proven that early detection might lead to cure. Early detection might have favorable results. But if you wait too long, men, go and get your prostate check. They're frightened. Many of them don't want insertion. In other words, they don't want the urologist push the finger up the anus and all that. Go, and if you're a man, you're a man. If you are a man and you don't have any doubt about your sexuality, you shouldn't be afraid. I had mine done, and I'm going to check the records to see when I got to get it done again. You got to check. People got to be more aware of these things. You have got to be more conscious and more aware. So yes, this is Cancer Awareness Month, right? This is Cancer Awareness Month. Now, I think CC coming into the studio there, so let me get you. Let me see if I can get him on. Hold on a minute. CC, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Oh, good. Yeah, the students were asking for you, man.
Yeah, man. Blackout, blackout.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to know that you're here. I make some announcements and so on, and engaging and hoping that you get you. But I'm happy that you're here now. So you might want to give your introductory remarks at this stage.
Yeah, and I must say, happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. It's a privilege. And I want to shout out to some people I met this morning on the road. One ex-police, Sullivan, says he's living in Iowa and he's on holiday and he doesn't miss the program. And then ex-police Fordyce, he retired and he's grateful for a program. He gave a little contribution. And also one as retired special constable Paris. Those are persons who I met and they wanted to know what you're doing on the road. You're supposed to be in the studio. So I want to reach out to all of them.
Right. And thanks. We always say thanks to whatever contribution we can get and so on to keep the program going. See, one of the students is saying that he's 47 and he did this, I guess he referred to the prostate, checking his prostate. Yeah, man, go and get it checked. Let me say this. The guy in the police force, and people, some of them believe that we come here to criticize the force and we bashing. One man said that I bitter and all sort of things. They say all sort of things. But these shortcomings have to be highlighted with the hope that the appropriate people will take action. Right? Look, only just now, it is fresh off the thing, breaking news. Let me read it to you all. Breaking news. I didn't even show you CC is preview to it. The Police Office of Professional Responsibility has been called in to investigate allegations of sexual misconduct by senior ranks at the Guyana Police Force Academy. The Corporate Communication Unit of the Guyana Police Force has confirmed that the Office of Professional Responsibility has completed its probe into reports of inappropriate conduct involving officers assigned to the Academy's Georgetown campus. According to the force, the allegations were recently brought to the attention of the Commissioner of Police, who immediately ordered an investigation. During the probe, several recruits and staff members of the Academy were interviewed and provided statements to OPR investigators. With the investigation now concluded, the case file is expected to be submitted today, October the 13th, 2025, to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice. In the meanwhile, an officer and 3 sergeants implicated in the matter have been transferred from the academy pending further directions. This is a developing story. It's all sort of what list is going on. And some of the releases they give, because they talk about the officer and 3 sergeants who are implicated being transferred. But I am aware that they got senior people, at least a senior man, who name also called, let me put it this way, a man who has previous name called, where somebody's facilitating him after hours in the night. You roll up, they facilitate someone of the female trainees, he carry the training, do what he got to do, and then they come back. Comrade, it's a cesspool. It's a cesspool. And I say this again, especially to the new minister. You are on the honeymoon, how things going on. If you don't put your foot down and make your presence felt, your honeymoon is going to be short-lived. Because again, too, I say that the police force needs reforming, and it cannot be reformed with people like Iken at the helm and other senior people in the position. I call it as I see it. I call it as I see it. All kind of scandals, all cyber scandals, and then tell you all the story, but it involve right there abortion and all sort of thing going on there. What is this going on in the place? What is this that the senior people they are presiding over? Is it a brothel? Is it a whorehouse? That is what is going on. Young female trainee in the 18, 19 young girls and so on, they catch a fire and they are abusing them. They are exploiting them. So they said the investigation done and we waiting. But then what happened? The people are transferred. Transfer? Well, I don't know. They said an officer. So I don't think the squatter can take action against the officer. That requires legal action, that is. He has been known to take illegal action against ranks. The 3, at least the sergeants, should be sent on leave. Where you transfer them for, that should be sent on administrative leave. The Commissioner of Police has that authority. Yeah, because they talk about the female trainees. But here they're carrying on with male and male going on there too. Male and male. Homosexuality. So this is just a piece the corporate communication unit, the corporate propaganda unit put out there, right? But the things nasty, stink, and dirty going on right there. Nasty, stink, and dirty, right? And then they're calling out recently Pazram from the East Coast and Simon from Region 10 begging people to send, they want youth to join the police force and all that. Which decent person can go there to join you all what's going on? Which decent person is going to send their children to join the police force? Who? Tell me who. A lot of people when they join now, they join because many of them, I believe some join for the correct reason, but many of them join for get a hustle because the police force now is seen as a hustling organization. You go in there, you make your heights, as they say, right? You make your heights. But it is sad. It's a sad reflection on the leadership of the force. I don't care what they say. Whether they're directly involved or not, It is a sad reflection on the leadership of the Ghana police force when all of these scandals, when is not corruption, now is sexual harassment and all them type of thing. Male and female, I understand, involved in the thing. Male and female. So when I say male and female, I am talking here about male preying on the female. I talk about male preying on male as well. That is the allegation that is being made. Male preying upon male, man sleeping with man, and all sort of things inside the place. That is what is going on. That is the allegation. And again, corporate the OPR, poor OPR, everything is the Office of Professional Responsibility. Everything is the Office of Professional Responsibility. But I say this before I bring in Mr. Conway. He used to be at the college there for a long time. Whether they call him academy now, they must call it academy now because of all of these inappropriate actions that are taking place. Right? Whatever they call it. Right? The college was a place, the training school when I joined the college was a place of standard. Was a place of standard. And let me say this because they're going to send out them cockroach. You've always had this suspicion, mind you, that there might be little relationship between staff and trainee. But the people were so damn discreet that you have to be Crusoe or someone a big time detective Colombo for know what's going on. They were extremely, extremely discreet. But not now. Let me bring Mr. Conway to him to say something about this man. I'm sure he's grieving because he used to be there for a number of years. CC, I think you're hearing me. CC, if you can't, let me, I got to call him. I don't think he's hearing me. CC, if you're hearing me, let me indicate that you can hear, or you might have to leave the studio and come back in. Yeah, I think you're hearing me now. Yeah, CC, are you there? Yes. Did you hear what I commented on the scandal at the training school? We can't hear you. You're breaking up.
I wasn't getting you clearly.
Oh, all right. Maybe we got a little problem with the internet. But I said I'm not sure if you're aware.
I wasn't getting you clearly.
You're not getting me
reception was
clearly.
bad.
Okay. I was talking about the scandal revealed this morning. Let me read it back so that you can hear what is being reported. The Office of Professional Responsibility has been called in to investigate allegations of sexual misconduct by senior ranks of the Guyana Police Force Academy. At the Guyana Police Force Academy, the Corporate Communication Unit of the Guyana Police Force has confirmed that the Office of Professional Responsibility has completed its probe into reports of inappropriate conduct involving officers assigned to the Academy's Georgetown campus. According to reports, the allegations were recently brought to the attention of the Commissioner of Police, who immediately ordered an investigation. During the probe, several recruits and staff members of the Academy were interviewed and provided statements to OPR investigators. With the investigation now concluded, the case file is expected to be submitted today, October the 13th, 2025, to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice. In the meanwhile, an officer and 3 sergeants implicated in the matter have been transferred from the Academy pending further directions. Did you hear that? I think we got a little problem with the
Yeah, I heard that clearly.
Okay, right. Your comments, please. Go ahead, CC. I don't think he. I got to ask him to come out and come back into the studio. CC, right? CC, something is wrong. We had little technical issues there and so on. But yeah, that is what is being reported. And I've said, as I said before, CC, if you can hear me, I would suggest you leave the studio and come back in. Leave the studio and come back in. You might get a better connection, or we might get to hear you. We're not hearing you. Yeah, right. He has left the studio. Now, so all of this going on, all under the watch of this commissioner out there. So many things going on there. And they keep it there. Obviously, they're happy with what's going on in the force. They're obviously happy. And then let me say this again, I want to emphasize. Because why is the talk about the officer and the 3 sergeants? The information is, the allegation is that a very senior man who has been implicated in similar activity in the past is involved in this thing. They claim that he just roll up after hours and then the people facilitate him. He collect his parcel and he gone. And then afterward he bring back his parcel. That is what is being alleged. And then they say OPR can investigate. Who OPR can investigate? OPR, the man in charge of OPR is the superintendent of police. Right? Yes, he can investigate. Any rank can investigate any rank when it comes to a criminal matter. There is no bar for a constable investigating the commissioner. It's only the normal protocol and courtesy. You make sure that if it's a person of some rank, some senior person, but that there's no legal bar to a constable investigating an officer, senior officer, or any officer. But when it comes to discipline, the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 17, colon 01, I think it's 5.3, is clear as to who can investigate a report of discipline. It is clear. And it says that for a report of discipline has to be investigated by a person with no lesser rank than sergeant. And in any event, the person who is investigating has to be of a higher rank than the person against whom the allegation is made. That is the law. So when you have a superintendent in charge of OPR, if an allegation is made against another superintendent or anybody higher, they cannot investigate a disciplinary allegation. They cannot investigate legally. They cannot investigate it, right? So they're jumping around. But it's not, again, you got to hold the government responsible. Don't come to me, don't come at me and say, the government put them there, the government has kept them long past retirement. The government has kept them there long past retirement. So when things go south, they are to be blamed. The man presiding over all kind of lawlessness, he himself embroiled in lawlessness. So what do you expect? What do you expect? Let me see if I can get CC back in at this stage. CC, are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear.
All right, you go ahead, my brother. Show you all the comments that I made. Go ahead and
Yeah.
get you back in. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I always got a problem with OPR investigating. As you mentioned, if it's criminally, well then you didn't get wrong there. Always a matter of principle. You don't want the junior investigate the senior, but that could be done. But when you're dealing with the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 17, colon 01, and you mentioned, let me read it again, Section 5.1. Every alleged commission of an offense against discipline under this act shall be investigated as soon as practicable by a member of the force not below the rank of sergeant and of a higher rank than the member of the force who is alleged to have committed the offense. So it's clear under the Police Act, investigation from sergeant and higher if the sergeant commits himself or herself. But you have OPR investigating, and this is where they get into criminal matters also. And there might be departmental matters also. So they will have legal issues. If the person is charged coming to give evidence, some of the evidence would be excluded. If it's a junior rank investigate, everything here OPR. Matters like that of sexual nature, CID should be involved in the investigation. Should be CID involved in investigation. The OPR is burdened down with the whole other thing, and the OPR, the rank there is a superintendent, and next to him, I think, is inspectors, then you have sergeant. So, and the allegation, from what I understand, they are ranked higher than superintendent, alleged to be involved in this matter, higher than that, higher. For the matter, there may be presumptions. I understand there, so I ain't calling no name. And the comment involved in it. I understand recruits are being taken out during the course of the night, and certain senior officer will pick them up, carry them and go this stuff, and then return them. It is being done, and they say the investigation is officers. But then what happens is that one officer sent on leave, when there's against officers. The thing is thinking it's dirty, and the investigation is And as you mentioned, Paul, male and male, also involved in it, male sleeping with male in training institution. And I can't call it an academy. It is not an academy. It's a training department of the Guyana Police Force. And they need to do proper investigation, not no OPR, chase away OPR from the places they're going to investigate. Let senior people, because it's very senior rank involved in it. Assistant commissioner involved, deputy commissioner involved, persons who are stationed there and persons who are outside of the training department. So let there be proper investigation and don't tell me nonsense about OPR. OPR just got superintendent. He wasn't even ready yet. And he's breaching the Police Discipline Act.
Yeah. Let me get a prop. And I hope the new minister, as you said, the new minister is on the honeymoon period. I hope the new minister is taking note of these things. I hope that the new minister is taking notes and put your foot down on these type of things. I hope that as a female, she will view these things. I'm not saying a male should not view it seriously, but as a female, she should have a special interest when allegations are made that female recruits are being abused and exploited in the training environment. That is what the allegation is, in the training environment. I mean, unacceptable. And they will tell you, send transfer my ass. Yeah, forgive me. The people below with rank of sergeant and below should be sent on administrative leave immediately, pending the outcome of the investigation. The law permits you to do that. Not interdicted, as I had to point out to them some time ago, because you can only interdict if they're charged. But this is not, they have not been charged with anything. The investigation, from the time the investigation starts, the persons who are alleged to have been involved should be sent on administrative leave. Like how you all get mandate on administrative leave all them months. You get your months on administrative leave all them months. They should have been sent on administrative leave too. And have nothing for the period to do, for the time being, to do with the force, apart from being investigated. Nothing. They just transfer them somewhere, right? That is the thing. Transfer them. Sickness. At a time when they talk, they're reaching out. Remember, not so long ago, the two assistant commissioners begging people to join the force, begging people, they want youths, they get opportunities. Opportunities want to be exploited. Opportunities to be exploited, that is what you're telling them. And when these things come to attention, you're not dealing with it properly. And I hear, as I've said, I understand abortion and all sort of thing going on in the thing there. Is that type of lawlessness going on in a training environment, training institution, right? Involving people who are put there in charge and who have influence over these people. That is what is alleged to be going on. That is what is alleged to be going on. And then they tell you what OPR investigating. OPR, they should launch a criminal investigation, get a gender-based unit, get all them organizations that deal, they talk about the one the other day when the policeman in Region 1 is alleged to have had this relationship with a 15-year-old. They have units in the ministry, social protection, or whatever you call it. You have people there who qualify to, they should be part of this investigation. They should be a part of the investigation. People are already skeptical about police investigating police. What do you believe is going to happen there? What do you believe? OPR send the thing, and then the next thing you know, even if the DPP advise criminal charge, what do you think going to happen? The people who are making the complaint are going to be pressured. That has been the practice. Pressured. They are going to be pressured. One female some years ago, when she came forward and made an allegation against a senior man, she was pregnant, resumed leave after 3 months, transferred to the bush. From Georgetown, she lives somewhere in the region, transferred to the bush. People have to kick up and then they cancel the transfer. That is the type of thing that you have there. That is the type of behavior you have. And that is what they're presiding over. I don't know if the minister wants to preside over things like that, but we are watching. We are watching, and we are watching very closely. We are watching very closely. CC, do you want to say anything more on this?
Not really, but the point is that they should have a proper investigation, a proper thorough investigation. And I said on previous thing that the investigation should be swift, You must certain where you're investigating, and if persons are to be charged, the punishment has got to be appropriate. It has got to be appropriate. And I'm saying involve persons inside the training division and persons outside of the training division who get a whole set of influence. Persons with nothing at the top are involved.
Yeah. And I moving on. I indicated to you earlier. Yeah, share the live. I see like the numbers are rising, but I guess people getting back power. Today is the 13th of October, 2025. A day I will remember this day back in 2021. Remember they charged me, Conway, and Alloway for conspiracy to commit fraud. And the charge was what, May 19th, I think it was, when they charged. I was abroad at the time. They arrested Mr. Conway and some other retired officer and some whole set of people arrested that day. I had been scheduled to come in that day. The people from Soku went to the airport with the intention of arresting me when I arrived in the country. This is not speculation. They went to the airport with a view of arresting them back in May. Well, I didn't come then. And then they set up someone to call me the night of the 19th of May to find out, Mr. Slow, a female journalist or a so-called journalist. Mr. Slow, we understand that you didn't come in today. When are you doing? And I said, I play the game. I said, I'll be coming in tomorrow. And somehow they went up there again the next day, 2 consecutive days, ran from Soku, went to the Chedijadanga International Airport to arrest me on my arrival for the arrest me for conspiracy to commit fraud. They had already arrested Conway and those people. Charged on the 20th. Right? All right. So I returned to Guyana. Well, let me tell you all further. Because I was abroad, and therefore I was never questioned, no allegation was ever put to me and all of that. Right? I was working overseas. They then went to court one of the days and asked for an arrest warrant to be issued for me. When they were questioned, I was not on bail. They never put the allegation to me. They never tell me nothing about it. They never informed me about this charge, but they wanted an arrest warrant. And quite correctly, the magistrate denied that. Then at a subsequent date, they then applied for Ramana, he's senior superintendent now. He applied for a summons for me to attend court. Because remember, they had not told me anything about this conspiracy to commit fraud charge or any other charge, but they wanted arrest warrant, right? When they realized they can't get you, Ramana then applied to the court for a summons for me to come to court, to me to attend court on the 15th of October, 2021. No proper service. My lawyer, Mr. Hughes, informed me that, look, don't let me fight them. That is not service, because service, you got a personal service, you got to give it to me, or you got to leave it at my residence with someone of a discretionate age and all of that. Nobody was at my residence, so they couldn't have left it. So I told Mr. Hughes, I said, what? Me, I'm fighting these people. I got to come when I'm finished working, I'm going to come. And therefore, they left the summons with Mr. Hughes, my lawyer, for me to attend court on the 15th of October, 2021, to answer a charge of conspiracy to commit fraud along with others. Only thing mentioned. I got the summons, I got a copy, right? Now, I decided, like a good person, decent law-abiding citizen, I'm going to come in 2 days in front, so I could do a little admin work and so on I got to do. So I arrived on the 13th, Wednesday, the 13th day of October 2021. I arrived in Guyana, the morning. And when I arrived in Guyana that morning, the Wednesday morning, let me put it this way, I became aware that the police, Soku ranks, were tracking me with a view to arresting me. I became aware on the 13th of the day like today, 4 years ago, on the 13th. Well, me is more police than them. I am more police than them. So they didn't get to catch me on the 13th. They didn't get to catch me on the 14th. So I turned up in court on the 15th, and we know what happened then. That is when they were waiting, ambushing me at the court compound to arrest me for the same charge that they summoned me to go to court. I can't go into details now because the matter is engaging the High Court. So I can't go into the details of that, but that is what transpired. 13th day of October 2021, right? That's the day when they come. And they're all over the place looking for me, right? But what I forget, they haven't even learned yet. The things that I forgot, they ain't learned yet. So they were not able to get me on the 13th because the intention was to hold on me on the 13th, perhaps keep me in custody for the 13th, 14th, and then carry me to court on the 15th. But that didn't happen. So after they didn't get me then they come up at the court. Imagine that they came to court, Jarchang Magistrate Court Compound. Brahmana, Juke, Singh, and Thomas, they came there to arrest me for the same charge that I appeared there. I turned up in command in answer to a summons that Ramana applied for. When I turned up that they're there to arrest me for the same thing. And then when I say, well, you have no legal authority to arrest me, so you can't arrest me. Then they tell me, a senior trained police officer, Ramana tell me that they got to arrest me to read caution after charge. I said, what nonsense you're talking? And that was a man who was supposed to be a lead investigator at Suku. You arrested me. You charged in May 29, 2021. You want to arrest me in October. Already charged, you get charged. You want to read caution after charge when you don't charge and I appeal. So I said, that's not caution after charge. I did a little lecture to them. I said, caution after charge is read at the station when the charge has been read to the person immediately thereafter. Not months after the person don't charge or you file charge in court and all and everything. Right? I tell him. And then again, I talk about Selwyn, Mr. Peters. He was there and he intervened. He intervened on my behalf. And then the other lawyer, Mr. Patrice Henry, was there and he too intervened on my behalf. So I remember them thing to say, well, I ain't gonna forget. I ain't gonna forget. So yes, October the 13th is the day I will remember. I will also remember to tell you about October the 15th, 2021. They're gonna come and gaslight and rewrite history. Those are the facts. Let me bring in CC and then I'm gonna move on. CC, I sure
Yeah,
you remember that day. First of all, remember when you were arrested? I remember the day. Go ahead.
I remember when I was arrested, and I remember very clearly I was at work when they came to me and said that Karim Bash must invite me to go to Suku headquarters in relation to matter conspiracy to defraud. I said, well, tell me, give me the details, because according to the law, according to the constitution, a man must be told in simple language, in language that he understands, and in detail what you are investigating. They say, um, I say, and furthermore, I'm turning down the investigation. And they say, well, Mr. Karimba said, if I turn down the investigation, they must arrest me. And they arrested me, took me to Suku headquarters and then to Brickdam police station. Nobody searched me. Nobody put any allegation to me. No caution, no nothing. And I always remember, asked for bail. I remember Happy, who was performing the duties of the commissioner. Call him. He said, "But this matter is political. It's political. I can't do nothing but it. I can't give you no bail." And lo and behold, late in the afternoon, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, after 6, one of our lawyers called a certain man in Kameka Street for bail, and he said, I have the record. He said he's going to call Karimbash and order Karimbash to put us on bail. And in 20 minutes, we were out of that place on bail for court the next day. And let me talk about court. 26 persons testify from the finance office to the commissioner's confidential secretary to the quartermaster store, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Home Affairs. All of them testify, And according to the magistrate, who is now a judge, in her written ruling, she gave her a written ruling, Some judges don't give no written ruling. She gave her a written ruling, said there's not an iota of evidence against us. Imagine we just have been charged with $10 million plus, and no evidence to show any one of us receive a cent. No payment vouchers, no, 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 nothing. And 26 persons testify bogus. The whole idea was to charge Conway and charge Parslow and to get us off the Police Service Commission. The other persons there who they charged was just collateral damage done there. But that was the whole idea, politics. And I never forget. And I must mention also, and this is for persons who would arrest people. I was arrested about 10 something in the morning, and about till quarter 7 the evening, I was sent on bail, and nobody searched me. Nobody searched me. I had my weapon on me. I had my gun on me, but and nobody searched me. A whole lot of things could have happened. No search, no caution, no nothing. But that's how they behave. That's how the Suku will behave. And I remember I was there when they arrested you, Paul. I was there. I was there at Garris at the court step. When you climb in the step to go upstairs, then is when they arrest you. And I know that you would carry your case to finality, that you wouldn't let up. Even if they're trying to compromise you, you will not let up in that matter that you get against them.
Yeah, you're right. You know me well. You know me well enough to know that. Now, let me say this as we move on. I saw, I read something yesterday where GHK Lal has sent a letter to Mikhail Rodriguez, aka Guyanese critic, um, making certain demands. Apparently, critic say a lot of things about Gates, accused of being corrupt and so on. So GSK Lal got his lawyers to write him to what I call a pre-action letter. So let me see. You got some people, if you're aligned with this corrupt government or certain people in the government, you can do anything and get away with it, man. But let me see where this is going to go. Because it's not a forced reaction, and then let's see where this is going to go. So GSK Lal, through his lawyers, has written to Mr. Mikhail Rodriguez, aka Guyanese critic, making certain demands because he said certain things about Mr. Lal, which is Lal deemed defamatory, libelous. So let me see where that will go. Let's see. On the last program, students, we tell you, when you want information, credible, valid information, yeah, share the life. Come to speaking out. Right? You all remember there was this matter we reported on Friday last, where it says sexual assault charge against photographer struck out after financial settlement. That was an article from Stabrook News, right? Headline, sexual assault charge against photographer struck out after financial settlement. And we tell you something wrong, and we call on them, we call on the legal people to clarify this thing, because based on what they said, and let me read quickly, it's not something long. Former Guyana Chronicle photographer Vishwanath Narayan was yesterday freed after the Georgetown Magistrate Court struck out a sexual assault charge against him following a financial settlement between the parties. Narayan, who had already been found guilty on one count of sexual assault, was expected to be sentenced yesterday. That was on the 9th. However, during the proceedings before the magistrate, they get the magistrate name and call the name, the parties reached an agreement in which the victim accepted $1.1 million in compensation. Following deliberations between the attorneys and the prosecution, the court was informed that the matter had been resolved, and as a result, it was struck out. Narayan appeared via Zoom from prison while his family present in court handed over the compensation to the victim. He was initially charged with 2 counts of sexual assault stemming from incidents alleged to have occurred in December 2023. Narayan had pleaded not guilty to both charges when the matter was first heard in chambers before the magistrate. In a statement dated 30th of December 2023, the Guardian Newspaper Limited, publishers of the Chronicle, had said it is profoundly concerned our report that a female staff accused a male employee of sexual assault. And then I go on for say all sort of things. But we tell you something wrong. If you had a charge of sexual assault, the matter went to trial. At the end of the trial, the magistrate found the person guilty and then remanded him for sentence, remanded him for pending sentence. They claim that according to this report, they claim that the parties came to some agreement, settlement in the sum of 1.1 million Guyana dollars. And following that, they claim that the matter was struck out. We said nonsense or nonsense. This can't happen. Cannot happen. We said so. Y'all remember that? We said can't happen. Well, I don't know if they were listening to us or what. Perhaps they were. God, not for them that's listening. Can we educate? And then we said, somebody asked a question. No, you cannot. Let me answer them before we go on. If you are arrested, right, for anything, the arresting rank has to tell you what you are being arrested for. Can't just say, come when we go to the station. You have to be told what in detail what you are being arrested for, right? So just without being told your rights are being violated, they have to tell you this is what is the allegation is, and then proceed to make the arrest. So let me understand it clearly. But coming back to this photographer story, then on the 10th now, this is Kaichor News now. Former Chronicle photographer under 2 years suspended sentence for sexual assault. You hear what I said? The first report in Stabrook News last week said that the matter was struck out. Kaichor News now saying something totally different, which is more likely what occurred. And then what is it? Well, yes, Lorraine, if you want any struck out and things like before trial, when the parties can make an agreement and the victim can decide that they don't want to pursue the matter any longer. And then if the victim don't want to pursue, then there's precious little that the court can do. They can come to the agreement before, but once they got you trial to the point where a verdict is rendered, you can't then say what matter is struck out. But here what Kaichor News said. Former Guyana Chronicle photographer Vishwanath Adrian Narayan on Thursday was handed a 2-year suspended sentence by the magistrate at the Georgetown Magistrate Court following the conclusion of a sexual assault case in which the victim received compensation. However, confusion later arose regarding the court's ruling. On Friday, Kaichor News was informed that there had been a misunderstanding between the information initially provided by the victim and the police and the magistrate's actual decision. On Friday, the principal magistrate clarified that Narayan was given a 2-year suspended sentence, not that the case had been struck out, and that earlier media reports on the matter were inaccurate. Sexual assault cases are heard in camera, and as such, reporters are not privy to arguments and statements made therein and rely heavily on counsel to indicate what transpired. On Thursday, when the court proceedings began, journalists were escorted out of the courtroom. Consequently, journalists were informed by the police prosecutor and the victim that compensation had been accepted and that the matter was concluded. Later, the police prosecutor further informed this publication that Narayan's family was expected to return to court at 1 o'clock to deliver the compensation to the victim, ending the matter. However, it was subsequently confirmed that additional proceedings occurred after the compensation was handed over. During those proceedings, the magistrate ruled that Narayan would serve a 2-year suspended sentence, meaning he will not be imprisoned unless he commits a similar offense within that period. If such an offense occurs, Narayan will be sent to prison immediately for 2 years. Narayan was originally arraigned and I got you. But we said so. We said something wrong. We said something wrong. You can't go through a trial, get sentenced, remanded, well, not get sentenced, found guilty, remanded to prison pending sentence, and then we get compensation and it's struck out. No. Can't. We said so. Speaking out told you that. Speaking out, well, I keep coming to clarify. But my favorite clarification is someone Ryan F. Crawford, attorney at law. Yeah, you remember Ryan F. Crawford, attorney at law? He said he wanted to clear up some misinformation. This is the post he made. The news agencies and individual posts in this country are irresponsible and dotish. And then he used some word, award him in use. This man was found guilty and remanded to jail for 2 weeks pending probation report for the magistrate. For the magistrate can give him an appropriate sentence. The victim was an adult, by the way. The case was never struck out. Get your facts straight. Now, once he's found guilty and the victim accepted the compensation of over 1 million, the only thing the magistrate could have done is a suspended sentence. Guilty but no jail. Stop these irresponsible, asinine reported posts. If it was a minor, then it would be the responsibility of the DPP to deal with the matter. In a case, in case one, in case I didn't tell you, now, in case I didn't tell you all this, carry you. You can imagine what come after carry you something. Oh, and stop posting judicial officers' picture online. Y'all effing around with their security. Well, Ryan, sir, we have been saying that all along. They're posting judicial officers, they're putting policemen name and all them everything. They're messing with people's security. All these names in this article, I omitted the articles that I read. I omitted to mention the names of the magistrate because I don't think it is necessary. But they were right when they write in the thing. They mention the magistrate name by name in drug cases, in serious cases, murder cases. It is not necessary. I don't think, especially in the environment in which we live. I'm gonna get charged with how much cocaine and all them everything. Go before the magistrate, and you get the magistrate name, who the magistrate is in the thing. And the chancellor of them should deal with this. I mean, we know about transparency and all, but I'm sure if they relate to the editors and them, they're gonna understand the need to ensure that these things are kept under wraps. There's no need to give the magistrate name, I don't think, and posting the picture and all these type of things. Should not happen. Should not happen. And in this matter, as I said, this matter was held in camera. And, you know, let me say this before bringing CC, because we alluded to it on the last program. We said part of the problem, they don't have proper, qualified, well-trained court reporters. Because if you had a professional court reporter reporting, and I'm surprised that the editor of Starboard News did not pick Starboard News did not pick it up. Matter could not have been struck out of raised concern immediately and called for clarification before the article is published. Matter could not have been struck out. The man was already found guilty and remanded pending sentence. How can it be struck out at that stage, even if compensation is paid? But any experienced reporter would have picked it up. And the editor, I guess the editor, this one slide pass. This one slide pass. So I'm glad that we pointed it out very early, and I'm glad that we called on the magistrate and we called on them to clarify this thing, and they did so. They did clarify. There are other issues which we're not going to raise now, but they did clarify. CC, congratulations to speaking out, man. Let me hear you. Congratulations to speaking out for calling out this thing very early and say what was reported could not be. Let me hear you.
Yeah, we all knew that the reporting was fabrication. You know, and although we know that matters of those nature are being held in camera, but then they gotta conform, they gotta clarify the thing properly before they go to the press. And we will continue to raise matters of concern. And also, yes, we must blow your own trumpet sometime, you know, because if we don't blow it, nobody will blow it for us.
You're right, because you see, Patrick, you hear that? If we can blow it, nobody can blow it for us. Percy, Sean, y'all hear that? So we got to blow your own trumpet sometimes. Now, one of the students had asked a question about provisional driver's license, and I did respond, I think it was Friday, and one of the students, a former senior traffic rank, right, messaged me, said, Chief, you're perfectly correct, right, in terms of the restriction to a learner driver. So, no, because the story is, the student told me that someone informed them that a traffic rank stopped them and said, look, you can't drive in the night with a learner driver's license. And they wanted me to clarify. So I said, I don't know that, right? So I checked the law, I checked the law and I told you what the law is in respect to that. You got to learn a driver's license after you have passed the theoretical. And that is to allow you practice before you go and do the actual practical examination. The law requires that you have someone with 2 years experience, I say, but someone has to be there with you who has a proper driver's license for 2 years or more, right? That is what it requires. But then the person did remind me that the licensed driver is not required if the provisional is for a tractor or a motorcycle. If you are using a provisional to drive a tractor, there's no requirement for a licensed driver to be there with you, right? Because you know how a tractor is configured. Tractor to get apart from the driver's seat, them regular old-time tractor, and they get the driver's seat. You got to sit on the fender, and it is against the law to sit on the fender. So there's no such requirement when you're having a provisional for tractor. Also, if you have a provisional for a motorcycle, there's no requirement for you to be accompanied by a person with 2 years driving experience. So hope you are getting the clarification. We clarify things, we educate, we teach, we educate. And we are only teaching the police, but the civilian people, you got to know your rights. We're teaching as well. Now, talking about traffic, let me come to this one. Sorry, let me apologize in front. Yeah, share the light, man, share the light. Let me apologize before for being unable to show you the video. But many of you would have seen this viral video on social media where a policeman is himself removing the license plate from a motor vehicle, both front and rear. He started rear first, rear and front license plate. And it evoked a lot of comment on social media. Lots of comment on social media. So let me clarify and tell you all what's going on. And the reason why I can't upload the thing, you get some technical issues and so on, but if I get it before the end of the week, I'm going to show you all. As I've said, I'm sure many of you would have seen the policeman, right, taking off and proud of it, showing up, holding it up and showing it. Let me find this thing. Let me think the policeman, a corporal, is there on video taking off first the rear license plate and then the front. I am not sure why it was taken off. I suspect it was being taken off because what it says obscure number plate, meaning that the lettering and the numbering, right, did not conform to what the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act stipulates. Because the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act stipulates how these numbers and how these letters and so on, the dimensions and all that should be. But let me tell you this, Corporal, and let me tell you, Traffic Chief. 99% of the vehicles traversing the roads of Guyana are not in compliance with the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act. 99. And the one that was taken off, yeah, when I looked at it, it was not in compliance. But I see many that are far worse than that. And nothing is happening, including the vehicles belonging to policemen. Well, let me say this for the education. Let me make it clear. Because I see Big Smith write something there. No, Big Smith is not no police. You know what's going on. He was police friend. I don't know if he's still friend, because I don't see writing favorable for certain person in the land. No policeman, none at all. From the commissioner right down to the last constable, none of them, none, has the authority to remove any, to personally and physically remove any license plate or anything, none. Let me repeat that, you're talking here about I'm talking here as a retired senior police officer. I'm talking about a two-time traffic chief. No police, none, whether you're a constable right up to the commissioner, has any legal authority to say they themselves physically removing any license plate from a vehicle. None. Even with the tin, they can't take it off themselves. That's clear violation. Clear, can't take it off themselves. You have a category of police rank called a licensing and certifying officer. In all the divisions, you need to have a licensing and certifying officer. And that position is gazetted. So it's not no the squatter or somebody or man just saying the trouble. He's a licensed and certified officer. You have to go through the process of the ministry to have it. It has to be gazetted to have the authority to be a licensing and certifying officer. And as the name suggests, yeah, he inspects, he licenses, he certifies vehicle fitness and so on. He can also revoke fitness for the vehicle. A licensing and certifying officer has to do that. I don't know if this corporal that was parading there is a licensing and certifying officer. But if he is a licensed and certifying officer, I don't know that he can't do that. God help us. God help us. I, as a traffic chief, used to run courses for licensing and certifying officers in the force. You run courses to them. Because when they mess up too, you revoke the appointment. You write and have it canceled. Gazetted, it has to be gazetted. And let me tell you this, because somebody made the remark sometime, I think somebody communicated with me over the weekend, and I had to tell them, a licensing and certifying officer is not restricted to constable, corporal, sergeant, and so on. When I was a traffic chief, I became a licensing and certifying officer, gazetted, because I felt that I ought to have the authority to revoke fitness and all of that. So I was gazetted and I became a licensing and certifying officer. So whereas the Rama role is to inspect and to do all them things at the station and so on, nothing is preventing senior people from getting that appointment. Nothing is preventing them from getting that appointment. So let me understand it clearly. Now, this thing somebody raised a question to about policemen driving vehicles. Let me say something happened on the road. Let me say minibus or somebody abandoned the vehicle, or something happened and you want to arrest the driver and his vehicle has to be taken to the station. The ordinary policeman doesn't have the authority to do that. Again, a licensing and certifying officer can drive it. So let's say a man on the road and he's arrested. You don't want him to drive. So he's arrested, he's taking the police vehicle. Right? For whatever offense. Don't be getting whatever offense. For his vehicle to be taken to the station, it has to be a licensing and certifying officer to take it. Now, any police just jump in and say they're driving has no authority to do so. The licensing and certifying officer is covered in certain circumstances to drive the vehicle to the station. And of course, you get a lot of responsibility. How you drive it to the station, you have the responsibility to secure it and all of that. That is your responsibility as a licensing and certified officer. Now, no ordinary constable or some ordinary traffic man jumping in there and say driving the vehicle to the station. All of those things. And that's the problem we have. You can't break the law to enforce the law. I said that repeatedly. Policemen should be told they cannot break the law to enforce the law. So Big Smith write something and he said, well, police are encouraged to drive civilian vehicles, but rather police are encouraged not to drive civilian vehicles, but rather to accompany them to the station once a matter has been investigated. That is misleading. That is misleading. You can't drive the vehicle, even licensing and certifying officer, yes. And depending on the circumstances, the licensing and certifying officer can drive the vehicle to the station. If it's an investigation, depending on the nature of the investigation, the owner of the vehicle driver can drive. Right? Nothing is wrong with that. Again, depending on the nature of the investigation, right? They had this matter when an allegation was made about the assassination plot against President Granger. When I conducted the inquiry, the ranks, Pitama and Landry, who went to the man, they said they claimed the arrest, and they allow him to drive his vehicle alone. They didn't accompany him. They had their own vehicle. They allow him to drive his vehicle to CID headquarters. They allowed the gentleman, he's deceased now, to drive his vehicle to police headquarters. So we understand, right? Well, you never know, Tori, you're not going to know who's a licensed and certifying officer, but the police know because it is gazetted. I guess unless you go through the gazette and so on, they don't wear anything special to say, I'm a licensed and certified officer. That doesn't happen, right? But the administrators in the force ought to know who these people are. And this ought to be a part of the training, that you have no such authority to do these things because you are not a licensed and certified officer. right? But you, the ordinary civilian, would not know that, right? I if they stop me and they want to think I can find out, are you a licensed and certified officer? Are you? So this thing where us get tell people take off tint, licensing and certifying officers to do that. And they themselves can't take it off or should not be taking it off. You tell the people that the thing is illegal and tell them that they revoke the fitness. The licensed and certified officer revoke the fitness and perhaps set a date and time for the vehicle to be re-inspected. That is how it should go. And these are the type of things that should be taught. At the reinspection, if the vehicle still has a tint that is not acceptable, then the fitness remains revoked. And if you don't have a fitness, you can't drive. You can't drive. Look, let me tell you something. These people don't understand how to do proper enforcement within the law. When I was a traffic chief, I know, um, I remember at least several occasions, but I remember one where the fitness of a vehicle was revoked. Fitness revoked. And then I tell him, I'm playing, well, if the fitness is revoked, you cannot drive. If the fitness is revoked, the vehicle cannot drive on the road. Then he said you're going to get something for tow it. No, no, no. No, you can't get nothing to tow it. You have to get some authorized tow vehicle, a tow truck to tow it. You have to get, but you see, they're so compromised and they're so dotish, they don't know what's going on. So that is the problem. If a vehicle fitness is revoked, license and certifying officer revoke the fitness. You can't then drive the vehicle has no fitness. Depending on what it is revoked for, you might then get the opportunity to remedy it right there and then once you're satisfied that it is okay, then the person can be allowed to go. Then he said too, right? The police are encouraged to search civilian vehicles while the civilians are observed, and all them things is crap. No search to take place in the absence of the person. That is fraught with dangers. Whether it's a home, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's something, to be searching a place in the absence of some adult, the owner or something, that is fraught with danger. Because wherever you find, people going to say, well, it's you put them there. Let me be real. Now, on the vehicle, no search. So if you want to, you remember the Brutus matter? Even though Brutus was wrong, when they went to search Brutus' place, Brutus said, yeah, me allow it to search. Then he tell them only the person who is named in the search warrant. So I said, it's nonsense. That is rubbish. Now when the person is named, it's only the person who swore to the information is named. But that person is allowed to have people accompanying him. But wherever the search is conducted, you have to have adult there, adult that to see. And in some cases, what happens? Older people tell you, the policeman have to make sure that he pocket empty, satisfy you that he ain't get no ganja in the pocket or no bullet in the pocket, he can come and plant and say he find it there. All of those things. They say, so empty your pocket. And if the police have no malintention, they would really say, look, check, and be with me. Make sure you're there and observe. When I go into the cupboard, make sure you observe. That is what should be done. But they ain't get them type of training now. They ain't get the type of training. So that is why people go, the source, the finance, other thing, and then you get a problem. People can claim that those things were planted. Let me bring in CC, and then we're going to move on, man. CC, this Bible ripping off this thing. I show you the thing with viral. You must see it. And nothing will happen to you, you know. Nothing. No one, I don't think anyone will call him and tell him that you're wrong. You're wrong. You shouldn't do that. Well, that is Wild West. Go ahead.
It's true, you know. I saw it and I said, wow. And he proud of it, you know. Very proud of what he did, you know. But coming back to search, you know, a bigger issue, you know, is that they get and search people place and they don't go with a search warrant. You hearing? They went there and they told the person the reason why they were there and requested for search, and the persons agree and thing. No. They're searching and they're not going with any search warrant. You have to get search warrant, whether you're searching for arms or ammunition or ganja or whatever. And I read one, I think it's a couple days ago, Tabatinga in Letem, where they said an intelligence-led investigation, and they go in a yard which was fence. I think the plane, they must jump over the fence, and under some bushes, they found a whole set of cocaine and a whole set of marijuana under some leaves, They had the photographs with it, Well, this is intelligence led, intelligence led, and nobody around. They can't find anybody to charge or anything. If they get intelligence, they don't watch, they don't think, it's so sounds so like a big joke. Intelligence led, and go in a yard and find a whole set of cocaine and a whole set of ganja in Atlanta. Nobody arrested, nobody was home, nobody around. And I'm making the point, most of the searches they're doing, the searches are illegal. Go to the magistrate and get a search warrant. Go to a justice of the peace and get a search. And more so if it's intelligence led. Yeah, get this search warrant and execute it. Instead of going and say you told the person the reason why we're there and we requested the search and they agree for us to search. And then you define X, Y, and Z. Those things, could be challenged in court. And our people say the forbidden fruit of the poisonous tree, the forbidden fruit of the poisonous tree. So I'm saying uh, giving them some information or asking them, if you go in and search, arm yourself with a search warrant. We say CYA, cover your ass, or SYA, save your ass.
Well, let me say this too, right? Let me say it is becoming clear to me and others that when the police said police conducted an intelligence-led operation, it seems to be an oxymoron. Police and intelligence-led operation, right? It seems to be that because how do you conduct an intelligence-led operation? They did one some time ago. They reported at BV Sideline Dam, where they said they went into the place, they searched the man's premises and didn't find anything illegal. But then they went on a nearby yard with big bush, and then they found ammunition and they found things and all that. So if the operation is truly intelligence led, how come you go in and you find nothing? But the intelligence didn't tell you that. It didn't tell you that. Now let me move on. I got two other issues I hope I get time to deal with. This one is, we tell you about the incompetence of the police traffic department. Traffic chief, I'll call you out. The incompetence of the government, Ministry of Works. The incompetence of the Commissioner of Police, which is well known. And what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the confusion and chaos on the East Bank. So what you had? Last week, Saturday gone. I said last week, Saturday gone there. It's last week here, but Saturday. Big confusion in the East Bank. Hear what the yesterday's Kaicho news. JetBlue flight rescheduled after crew and passengers stuck in the East Bank traffic jam. Short article. A JetBlue flight rescheduled its takeoff time on Saturday after its crew and passengers were stuck in traffic or left stuck in traffic at the Suzdike Junction, East Bank, Demerara. Some 50 passengers, including crew members, reportedly showed up late for the flight bound for New York. Takeoff from the Chedijaga Intelligence Report, CJ Dimeri, was scheduled at 3. Oh, the takeoff from Chedijaga International Airport was takeoff for 3 p.m. And many were worried that they would have missed their flight. JetBlue, some flight number they have there, B61916, accommodated them. Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Force stated that traffic flow along the Suzdike stretch was restored at around 15-20 hours after the flight schedule, 20 minutes after the flight schedule takeoff time. Priority, according to the traffic chief, Mahendra Singh, was given to outgoing passengers and flight crews. Traffic ranks are on site to ensure that the traffic continues flowing smoothly. The traffic chaos was reportedly caused by ongoing road work along the East Bank roadway. Kaicho News understand that the traffic was at a standstill for hours. The traffic chief said that to ease the congestion, quote, police escorted materials to the work site to aid with the speedy completion of the road work. Then I don't end the code, but I guess the end of code. Come on, let me say this. Titan done there. It ain't done there. The president, call out, came in out, had one of them seagull arrangement again, right? So it is reported again yesterday, president upbraids consultant over East Bank road work. Amid severe delays for persons traveling to Sadijan International Airport, President Irfan Ali met today with the contractor, China Road and Bridge Corporation, the consultant, which is the Sharida Associate, engineers, and the traffic management team working on the rehabilitation of the East Bank expansion, rehabilitation and expansion of the East Bank Public Road. Starbucks News was told that the president read the Riot Act to the contractor and consultant regarding the pace of the project and the manner in which the traffic arrangements are complied with. He also highlighted to the police the disregard for traffic rules and road safety, especially by trucks. As a result, the contractor and consultant will submit a revised work plan within 24 hours. Additionally, a number of measures were agreed upon, including the setting up of an integrated control room and the implementation of a traffic management drone system, the establishment of an early warning system and an emergency transport plan in collaboration with Coast Guard and the Marine section of the Guyana Police Force to help persons headed to the Chedijangan International Airport in cases of unforeseen circumstances will also be set circumstances will also be set up to help manage traffic and the workflow. Meanwhile, the public has been notified by the police force that roadworks are still ongoing along the East Bank Demerara corridor between Supply and Susdai. As such, outgoing passengers via the Chedijangan International Airport are advised to factor delays into their planning to get to the airport on time for check-in, the police said in a statement. Quote, motorists are reminded that their action must not lead to obstruction or delays. Practice the 5 C's of defensive driving and support safe progression of traffic. Report errant drivers who are not compliant. Do not follow them. End of quote. That's what the police said. That is what the president, before I bring in CC, let me tell you, we're talking about incompetence. Now, this road is being done. Your only artery in that area to the airport, only artery. This is not something up overnight. You want to tell me you're going to repair this road and you're factoring all of that into consideration, traffic flow, proper traffic management, and all of that, timings depending on flight schedules and all. You want to tell me that wasn't factored in? And the president got to do the seagull managing, flying, make not nice, crap up the place and then thing. That seems to be the style, right? That you have a president has to himself get involved in a matter like that. What happened to the minister? What happened to the commissioner and all of these people? President got to get involved in a matter like that. They ain't got nothing else to do. And then you got the ministers, the people responsible for traffic. JetBlue forced to reschedule. Police issue a stupid press release. Another indication of incompetence and poor management. Poor management. The only corridor along there, only corridor. How can the Ministry of Public Works, the contractor and the police traffic department not factor these things into their planning? Not factor it, right? Now, the traffic flow should be managed, and this is a problem they have. The traffic flow there with them should be managed by the police. They got a contractor with 2 little girl or 2 little boy, and they're just swinging the thing randomly, go, stop, go, and no proper thought going into this thing. So the people complaining, traffic going towards the airport, hours, stuck for hours, forcing a flight to be canceled. They might not cancel, sorry, to be delayed and rescheduled. All because of poor management. As I've said before, the various flight times should be known to the police. And if you're telling people they must go there in a particular time, you have to ensure that it is managed carefully, because I said this to my just saying, and then we'll issue this release. The fact that the flight crew was delayed has nothing to do with people leaving late per se, because you want to tell me that the flight crew left later. They know the time they have to be there. They know that the time they got to get, but the fact that the flight crew means it's not the passengers are to be blamed, by the passengers alone to be blamed. It is incompetence and lack of proper foresight and management. That is what it is. We got to call it what it is. And I say again, they claim to have all the resources. They're talking about drone and all them type of thing now. All sort of thing. I am saying they get radios. They say they get drone. They got to sit down and come up with some proper plan to make sure that at least you're talking about, the times. This is not an airport where flights coming in all the time and going out all the time. The times are known. The scheduled times are known when these flights have to go. Put some system in place to make sure, because you tell people leave early. Why is early? They got to check in 3 hours before for international flight. So if the flight is leaving at 3 o'clock, they will tell you have to check in the late, at least by, you start to check in at 12 o'clock. But if you get 3-4 hours delay, even if you leave home at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you're likely to run into problems. You're likely to run into problems because, as I've said, the management of the traffic is poor. Police should have taken control of that a long time. Not only now, look, let me understand this. You issue a contract to repair this road. You must know. One would expect you would have known that, hey, this is the only road you get going in certain area going to the airport. So therefore, you got to control the repairs. You can't get them block off the whole road and thing. You have to control it. You have to sit down with the contractors and decide they're going to detour. Yeah, they're not going to detour nothing there. Maybe if you want, put in detour. But you got to make sure that it is properly managed. Properly managed. And it is clear from what we saw there on Saturday, it wasn't properly managed. I will call it what it is. Yeah, come for me if you are one. Come for me if you are one. But facts are facts. And the mere fact that the president had to call one of his seagulls arrangement tells you that something is wrong. Something is wrong. But these things could have been reasonably anticipated long before. And you have systems in place to make sure that the traffic flows smoothly. We expect road work going on and get some delay. That is not the problem. You expect you're going to have delay because roads are being repaired. But it's how you manage the thing, how you manage it. And it is clear that it is not being managed properly. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. See, seagull management, man.
Again, and it's about planning, strategic planning. This is massive, excuse me, massive road work going, leading to the Timeri International Airport. And it's PPPC at work. Poor planning promotes chaos, confusion, corruption. PPPC, let me talk again. Poor planning promotes chaos, confusion, corruption, like what we see happening over the weekend, and may continue to happen. That the president of all person got to rush there. What happened with the squatter? What happened to the traffic chief? Traffic chief sit down in the office. Traffic chief don't go up on the road. We had a term we used to use, MBYA, management by walking about. MB, what is called it, management by walking about, where the traffic chief got to walk the ground. And if he used to walk the ground, you know to tell him for call 911, because many parts on the highway, you don't get internet. So you're going to call 911, you're going to jump in, we call 911, 911. A lot of places on that highway, you don't get internet. Internet connection is zero. And telling people that you must report um, drivers and follow the 5 C's. Huh? Nonsense. It calls for strategic planning, and the people who constructing the road has got to know, hey, this time here It's crunch time. This is when passengers coming in and passengers going out. And we need to deal with sometimes they gotta do some night work. And then you get two women, as you mentioned, with something telling but stop and go and stop and go. And there's the role of the police there. The police gotta be there and look at the traffic. And it's massive traffic. As we said, no 3 cents traffic, massive traffic, confusion, chaos going on in the place there. And then I tell about call 911. Total nonsense. He got to get his men deployed and deploy strategically to deal with the situation. You got to do that. And I'm saying the corporate chief got to walk the ground. MBYA, management by walking about. Then is when you see that you're talking about drone. Use drone, yes, drone will give you a bird's eye view. But you must get a worm's eye view where you could see it, you could feel it, you could hear it, you could touch it. Not a bird's eye view, a worm's eye view. You're there, you could see what's happening, you could hear, you could touch it, you feel, you could take action. And not only depending upon drone, drone is only a bird's eye view. And the thing is that in the traffic, you got to be able to deploy your people properly, proper deployment. But then again, if the traffic, you say they get everything in place, everything all right and in place there, so they ain't got to bother about anything. They ain't got to bother for anything. You know, the whole thing is ridiculous. Let me hope better sense will prevail. Let us hope that they do proper traffic management so that the situation could become a little normalcy, because it's total nonsense what I've seen on television and what I hear people who miss their flights and all kind of thing talk about there.
Yeah, well said, well said. Um, they got to do something, man. But I am holding up much hope because you're talking about incompetent people. Remember the traffic chief dealing with the Linden? He said he stressed that the police have already implemented all possible measures to maintain safety. They maintain all possible, they've implemented all possible measures to maintain safety. I mean, we just got to sit back and more carnage. Thankfully, over the weekend, we haven't heard about any road accident. But talking this morning, I see a video circulated there where some minibus clean up some light on the new bridge there. So that's a week after. I don't people had bet as to how soon you will get some big smash up on the bridge. So I saw this morning, sometime this morning, there's a video going on. Some minibus clean up a light post and all sort of thing on the bridge. They take long, they take 1 week. They took 1 week to do that. Now let me move, the real issue, the real topical issue here now is this indictment against the Mohammeds. And I can't stop talking about it. We have other things to talk about it. For those of you who perhaps been under a rock and you know what's going on, Asudin Mohammed, the leader of the We Invest in Guyana party, the WIN party, it was indicted by a federal grand jury in the U.S. for money laundering and a whole set of 11 counts, I think, he and his father. You would know, too, that at the last election on September the 1st, the party gained 16 seats. It is the largest party in the opposition because the APNU got 12 and Forward Guyana Movement got 1. So we expect, based on statements made by the WIN party and statement made by the leader of that party, Asudin Mohammed, that he will become the leader of the opposition. Because we tell you, Parliament's supposed to convene. Surprisingly, up to now, the president has not made a proclamation to convene Parliament. And I continue to say that is not no mistake, right? But it is still within the constitutional framework, because based on what we said, what we learned, he has until I think November the 2nd to convene Parliament. I got a brain that I just think this thing through a lot. That's the teaching, right? November the 2nd. I said before, that I am convinced the reason why Parliament has not been convened is because of the indictment against Mohammed. First, they knew it was coming, and now that it has come, Parliament and convening. Parliament is not convening because we understand that once the proclamation is made, then the date for Parliament to be convened will be set, and all the parliamentarians from all the parties, PPP with a 36, WIN with a 16, APNU with a 12, and Forward Ghana with a 1, totaling 65, are expected to turn up in Parliament. They might get a lot of ceremony, a lot of speech and so on, but then they say that first order of business, I think if I get the sequence right, election of a speaker by all the members, then election of a deputy speaker by all the members. And that is his main business for that day. And then it told us that what happens then, that the speaker after that is then expected to call a meeting, which he will chair, and the meeting is comprised of members of the opposition only. So WIN 16, UPNU 12, and Forward Ghana Movement 1. And they are the ones who will elect a leader of the opposition. But so therefore, once the proclamation has not been made, you ain't got no parliament, you ain't got no leader. Now, hear this. The proclamation is made. Like I said, the proclamation is made. If Azuddin Mohammed turns up, then based on what they say, and they get this, first of all, if he turns up, he can get sworn in. And remember, he was sworn in because that is the will of the people. You know, the talk of democracy, that the will of the people, regardless of what baggage he might have, the will of the people say E-Party is the largest party in the opposition with 16 seats. That is the will of the people. And if the opposition people decide that he must be the leader of the opposition, that is the will of the people. That is the will of the people. Right? So, all right. So, as I say, once you convene parliament, you get into the stage. What happens now if you convene parliament and Mohammed turns up, as he is expected to do? So then he has to be sworn in, I would think. You can't decide you're swearing in. But having been sworn in as a member of parliament, then at the next meeting, I can't do what I said. You're going to have this meeting to elect the leader of the opposition. If he turns up then one would expect, based on, again, what is out there, that they're going to elect WIN get 15 plus 1, 16, and they will outnumber the other opposition, which is 13. So he's sworn in as the leader of the opposition. That is what people would expect. But let me tell you, this mind of mine, how it thinks. What happens if he never turns up to be sworn in? What happens if he never turns up to be elected as a leader of the opposition? In other words, we know what is going on now, right? What's going on now is that I suspect that by now the request for extradition would have been made. On seal indictment, the indictment came down 2 weeks ago. By now, I am sure that the extradition request would have been made or is in the process of being made. Oh, yeah, hold on. Somebody calling and interrupting me there. Yeah, or it is in the process of being made. Now, as far as I'm aware, once the request is made, there's a legal process involving the DPP, involving, I think, Foreign Affairs, involving Home Affairs. There's a legal process. It has to go before a magistrate. And as the Mohammeds have already indicated, they intend to robustly challenge any extradition requests by the U.S. authorities. Now, understand it carefully, once the request is made, in order for the process in front of the magistrate, he has to be arrested. I would think he has to be arrested. and taken before the magistrate for this extradition proceedings to get underway. Now, once you take before the magistrate, again, as they have said, we can expect a robust challenge. Then I would expect that the question of bail would come into play, bail pending the extradition proceedings, right? The PPP, through UTAD, the Foreign Affairs Minister, y'all remember 2 months ago, came out and said that they get evidence that the Mohammeds been at the Venezuelan embassy. Remember that? Y'all remember? These things should not be viewed in isolation. So people have said that maybe they're creating a scenario to say that the people want to run to Venezuela, where we understand that there's no extradition treaty. That is the image, that is the perception they were creating, right? Now, would they then use that argument to deny bail, to argue against the granting of bail? Would they use that argument that this man is a flight risk because he run into Venezuela? They already had, we're going to talk about that in the subsequent broadcast, about the lobbyists and the lobbying in the States, linking it to Maduro, he's a puppet of Maduro, and all them type of thing. These things are not random. They are not to be viewed in isolation, right? So, all right. So what happens if he is picked up on this extradition and he's in custody in Guyana? Then the convened parliament is in custody. Can't come to parliament because he's in custody, right? What happens if while he is in custody, because the extradition proceedings are expected to run along, let me understand this. We expect anytime you follow the rule of law, extradition proceedings will run for years, likely to run for years. They might want to fast forward it. In other words, they might appoint a special magistrate. They might appoint special prosecutor. So a magistrate who is set to deal with this exclusively. All of those are possibilities, right? But what happened if they say, well, look, we losing faith. We don't want this man sit down here because we get here, we don't want straight in this parliament, in parliament. What happened if once he's arrested to face the extradition proceedings, he finds himself in the US? What happens? I'm showing these things out. Yeah, I must think this thing through. He's arrested in Guyana for the extradition proceedings to go ahead. And then what happened? While he's there, if he's in custody here, will they take him to parliament for him to be sworn in? Will they take him to parliament be part of the election for this opposition leader? Or would he find himself rendered to the US? Conrad, we are going into some serious times. They tell you, I think no constitutional crisis yet. No constitutional crisis yet. No constitutional crisis yet. So let me see what's going on, because you got so many possibilities. He is not there, and the meeting goes ahead. And when people abstain from voting, and up you alone decide to vote and decide, well, we got to appoint some leader of the opposition. What happened then? What happened then? Y'all say this old man got nothing for do. So you're thinking out of this. Yes, you have to think it through, because you're dealing with a devious, a conniving administration. I know. I experienced it. You're dealing with a devious and conniving set of people. So all of these things are possibilities. Don't look at it, as we say in the country, don't look at it tap. Don't look at it tap. Delve into the meat. Look at all the possibilities, right? Because it is clear from the evidence before us that the PPP don't want Azuddin Mohammed to be the leader of the opposition. They wonder. I know people can't about 2 peas in a pod and say, but let me take it stage at a time. Let me take it stage at a time. That who knows if we have people there now who conniving and deciding, well, look, I want to be, if Azuddin Mohammed can be, I got to be. So you wait to get you have the scene. So when the time come, you can vote. Cause for all you know, when time come for vote, they're gonna do like what they did in Region 4 on Friday. Suddenly, secret ballot, so you can't know who get pay off if anybody get pay off. Right? In Charanda's case, everybody know it's Charanda sellout because it was no secret ballot. He voted against the coalition. Everybody know the world saw that. But on Friday last, when they had the election in Region 4 for the chairman, they suddenly decided secret ballots. So who vote, who cross and vote, and you can't know who all the allegation, who collect, who visit, who Jackie Opel visited, you can't know. Who is to say that when we get to Parliament to vote for the leader of the opposition, they then suddenly decide secret ballot, so you can't know what's going on. All right. Yes, I'm glad. Thanks to the compliment, student. Student said that's why they like to come on this program because they get so much, they're educated. I really love this program because this is the place my mind goes to. He said the same thing. The person saying that is the same place the mind going to. Don't sit down and take things at face value and then you're shocked when these things happen. Look at all the possibilities because as we have come to realize, Mohammed was a thorn in the side, and I'm going to deal with the statement by Kit Nasty meant on them that government is involved. The evidence suggests otherwise. The evidence suggests otherwise. Pay lobbyists to lobby in Washington, and they paint a certain picture of Mohammed. He's a stooge or of Maduro and all them type of things. Their lobbyists came with that. Their lobbyists came with that. And I am saying too that when UTAD made the statement about the Mohammeds going to the Venezuelan embassy, this is all part of the plot. And then Jack Dio said, well, it's not the Mohammeds, it's just the elder one, and he challenged me for produce evidence that he did not go there. Imagine that. You making an allegation and you want the person to produce evidence. That is where we are. That is where y'all watch the ride. It is less what? The 2nd of November is just around the corner. Let me watch for us for the, well, not for us, not this is this order, but let me look for the proclamation and let me look, because once the extradition request is made, I don't think they could keep the secret, you know. They can't keep it secret, so the world, we're going to know that an extradition request has been made and the process has started. We going to know. Right? So let me watch. And for those two things, the extradition request and the proclamation to convene the 13th Parliament. Let me watch. Let us keep watch. Let me bring in Mr. Conway about the long on this issue. Let me bring in CC. CC, your take, my brother, your take on this whole thing about the convening of Parliament, the proclamation by the president, the extradition of the Mohammeds. Let me hear what you got put in this thing, man.
Well, you mentioned many scenarios, many issues where they decided decided they're going to extradite him. Goes before a magistrate, and we know it's not going to be done in front of the magistrate. Although I think remember the Attorney General saying that they're going to make it, easy for the US to extradite him. So I won't be surprised if they pay a King's Counsel from Trinidad millions of dollars to represent them. Plus, the Mohammeds would have a battery of lawyers, including senior counsels, to represent. And it wasn't done overnight. And even if Mohammed loses, it's going to the CCJ. And then if the government also lost, they get into the CCJ. So this thing wasn't done overnight, It won't finish overnight. And what happened if he fled, he gone to Venezuela or he gone to Brazil, where there is no treaty with the US there. And then we want to make a opposition leader, which is a constitutional matter. A constitutional matter. Would they, if he's arrested before the magistrate, let's say the magistrate said no bail, parliament commences, and you want to swear him, you're taking out of the prison and swear him, you want him to vote, you can vote virtually eh, for the leader of the opposition. There's so many things there, you know. And then the president himself, he has to consult. There are certain constitutional issues that will require meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition. And if there's no leader, what would they do? For example, about anyone, there's no police service commission. Therefore, you can't take disciplinary action against inspectors of boards in the police force. And that position has been vacant since May, end of May. Or the president is going to shelter under the pretext, you're going to shelter on the pretext, of an old law that they had. I'm trying to remember the law, that
You talk about
necessity,
the doctrine of necessity, yeah? Doctrine of necessity.
doctrine of necessity, a antiquated law. I think they use it in Pakistan once. They use it once in Nigeria, and I think in Grenada. The doctrine of necessity, is he going to shelter on it? There are so many constitutional issues that will come up that we in for a long haul. It's not going done overnight. It won't done overnight. We await whether the request is going to be made by the US, and then they will take it from there. What they're going to do, magistrate elsewhere, and the CCJ, and other issues really going to come up, because the leader of the opposition is a very important constitutional position, that many things that must be done got to be done after meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition. So we in some crisis. I won't say we in right away, but I foresee there will be some constitutional crisis, some legal crisis that will emerge.
One of the students, Lorraine, let me say this to you again. The question you're asking, then do the crime, are we to believe it's a false indictment? Let me say this. Now, if you know the US system, a grand jury indictment is the easiest thing for a prosecutor to get. If you're following the news in the States, you will see recently the grand jury returned an indictment against the former FBI director, right? James Comey. More recently, they in return a grand jury director against the Attorney General of New York, right? So grand jury indictment is not difficult to get in the States because, as I explained before, it's an accusation made to a grand jury of 16 to 23 persons, and it's only the prosecutor saying what he got to say. Whatever he says is not challenged. The person against whom these allegations are made does not get the opportunity to challenge. So any prosecutor worth his salt present the case to the grand jury and say, this is what we have. So a grand jury indictment is the easiest thing to get in the legal system. But it's a trial when the evidence is going to be tested. You understand? Letitia James, yes, Sean, the AG for New York, she too was indicted recently by the grand jury. And you're going to ask what the director of the FBI and she have in common. Check and see what they have in common. So you got to understand how it goes. But let me say this. What Mr. Conway described about the magistrate court, and then if either party lose, you go to the appeal level, either party lose all the way to the CCJ and all that. That is providing the rule of law is followed. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this government ain't getting patience for that. So once he is there, They circumvent all of the rendition straight to cut through all them code, them long years of fighting battle like Jack Warner and so on. No, no. I get a gut feeling that once they pick you up for this proceeding, and the thing, first of all, one possibility is special magistrate appointed to expedite this process, right? So you're going to put off this day a continuous trial, continuous. That is a scenario. Employ special prosecutor, run with the process. So even if when the process finish, you want to appeal, quick time to appeal, then waiting time, right? Then to the CCJ. But even though, if you were to do that, even if you were to put on a special magistrate to try with a special prosecutor, it's going to take some time. And even if you allow for appeal to the Court of Appeal, to the it's going to take some time. People might decide we aren't waiting for that because in the meanwhile, what happens to Parliament? What happens to the leader of the opposition? What happens to Parliament? So to circumvent all of that, rendition. So when you come in there, you run, people say you get this liar to represent you, and you get this, you wake up in the morning and you hear somebody at Timiri tell you, hey, a private jet landed or something they call you going on no regular flight. Come and look, private jet touchdown, private jet touchdown at, me I know they could land at Ogle, but they land at Timiri or something, gone. You sit down back and you think these devious Machiavellian people can tell you what I can sit back and wait for your fight with you all them levels in the court and so on. Nah, that is I'm not saying that is gonna happen, but I'm alerting you to that possibility. We are waiting for got you all them years and months of legal battles. We are not waiting on all of that. We are going to pick him up as we are entitled to do for the extradition hearing to commence. And then we are going to give him a special flight to go and answer the indictment. Yeah, watch and see. Again, these are possibilities. I don't blame me of saying that this is what they're going to do. I am saying that these are the possibilities that exist, right? Because the critical thing now is this leader of the opposition thing, Parliament to be convened, and the extradition proceedings to commence. Yeah, the plain land, where you get the Cali from, the plain land. Yes, Commissioner Cool. You know the truth? The plain land. Yes, the plain land. That is what can happen. Watch out, you can see the plain land. And gone. Arrangement well coordinated. So that the plain land, the plain things are zip. By the time you catch yourself, by the time you blink, it is faster than a blink, a wink, or a diarrhea. You know, the people say, the man say, ask what is the fastest thing? Man said the fastest thing is a wink. Then the next one said the fastest thing is electricity. Can't find you wink it with electricity. Man said the fastest thing is diarrhea. Man explained how. His man said because before I could have blinked, because I could wink, before I could turn on the light, thing happen. Saddle up, thing happen. Right? Thing happen. Now bring in CC for his closing, and then we're gonna tell you about our future plans. God permit. CC, your closing remarks.
Like you, Paul, my mind is on rendition. And bearing in mind the words of the Attorney General, they're going to make it easy for us to extradite him. I would not be surprised. Rendition. I'm not be surprised if the plane is fueling up by now. So look out for things that will happen. And in relation to the training environment, I can't call the place no academy because it's no bloody academy. That they need to have a broader investigation done in terms of not only the sexual allegations and everything there, and in terms of the place they're running, how they're recruiting, how they're training, how they're evaluating people, how they're choosing instructors, and how they're choosing persons to be in charge of the that training department, they need to have a proper inquiry done in terms of that training department they call an academy.
Well said, my brother. Well said. Now, folks, we have come to the end of we are almost at the end of today's program. Um, I'm in court again tomorrow. This charge nobody know of anonymity of complainant. So I'm in court tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock or 9:15 sometime then. Can give the details and so on. But you're gonna hear in time to come. You know, crazy sing the song. In time to come, you're gonna hear everything, man. In time to come, you're gonna hear everything. So I'm there tomorrow. I'm there tomorrow. And I want to tell one, well, I'm sure if you did, you know, last Friday, at the end of the program, as I told y'all, I don't check on the comments during the program because it can be distracting. When CC's on, I might take a quick peek to see what y'all are saying and respond if I need to. So last Friday, after the program, they set out, Percy, Toro, they set out a man. The man said, I talking about corruption and all that everything. I must tell the people what some little girl I get locked off in New York. I said, you talking about corruption, and you talk, well, I said, man, the person kind of is a man or a woman. Because so obviously it's a fake profile. They say, they must tell the people about the girl. The girl, he said, I guess some girl stash in New York. You think it's also a thing they come with, man. Also the thing they come with. So let them come, man. Let them come. Let them come if they let them talk if they want to. You know, because talk don't bother me. Right? Let me understand what's going on. They are desperate because people speculating what other sanctions to come down and who named up on the list and all them lists. They're desperate. Let me see what's gonna happen. Let's see what will happen. And seeing that we missed out on Thursdays. They call it a press conference. I call it views out. Let me look forward to this Thursday and see what's gonna happen. You know, they might need you. Bacchanal, big Bacchanal, that's the other day. You need that shit, Makume. Let me see what's gonna happen. Comic relief, yes, man. Yes, I remember years ago, Toro, I was at dinner with a diplomat and his wife, not me alone, they had some other senior officers. Well, I sat next to the diplomat's wife, and I was shocked when she told me that she would listen, she don't miss Shamo. So I said, well, you mean you don't miss Shamo? She said, yes, I find it very interesting. That is how I get my comic relief. That's what she said. So some people get a comic relief different way. But because of the sensitivity of my bullshit, me just can't listen. It keeps going off all the time. Folks, we have come to the end of another, I think, based on your attendance, that you will see another enthralling episode. The Cash App and Zell now is there. MMG, for those of you who are in a position to make a contribution to this program, do so. I know they're going to say, be begging for money and all of everything. But as one man said some time ago, and this is what somebody said, so ERC, you could come after me, you can find the evidence. Somebody commented when someone was asking for donation and so on, they said there's all a black man over the beg for money. And there was a proper response. And they say, yeah, if you teach people thief, then we ain't got to beg for money. That was the response on social media some months ago. That was the response. So I'm just repeating what was there, ERC. So if you want to come, go and deal with the person who said all the black man over do is beg. Right? Go and deal with that. So folks, we have come to the end of today's program. God's Spare Life. We will come again on Wednesday, the 15th. That is the anniversary of me appearing in court. And I'm going to talk about it again. I am going to speak about it, the anniversary of that incident. So, folks, again, stay well. God's Spare Life. We're going to meet again on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Oh, Mr. Conway again, no blackout. Again, even though he had the blackout, he was able to participate a lot. And I take care, stay well until we reach. Bye.